Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're asking you to do something a little bit unusual. We want you to just block out the noise around you for a moment.
Exactly. We're going to slowly step out of this loud, modern world we all know so well and step straight into an ancient, fire-lit mystery. It's a space built on deep shadows, hushed whispers, and a very real, very ancient fear.
And we're starting off with a question that's honestly deeply unsettling. What ancient force is powerful enough to literally destroy a life with a single glance?
Right, and to answer a chilling question like that, we have to travel far away from civilization. I want you to picture a pitch-black, ancient stone monastery hidden high up in these freezing, misty mountains.
The atmosphere up here is incredibly thick. You could almost hear this cold wind howling through the jagged peaks outside. But inside the temple courtyard, there's a crackling campfire, violently throwing these long dancing shadows against the cold stone walls.
And sitting cross-legged right by that fire is an old, wise Asian monk. He's got this long white beard, and he's entirely surrounded by young disciples. And they are highly anxious, leaning in tight just to hear his voice over the roaring wind.
The monk looks into their wide eyes and says something that just sends a shiver through the whole group. He says, "Tonight, my children, I do not preach of peace. I preach of a shadow."
You can just imagine a nervous disciple speaking up, his eyes reflecting the flames, asking the master if he's talking about an invading empire or maybe a coming war. But the monk just shakes his head. He reveals a much darker, invisible threat, one that has survived for centuries and will definitely outlive them all.
He introduces a chilling concept, the Nazar, the evil eye. It is a force literally older than the mountains themselves.
Yeah, it's not an army of men marching to conquer. It is a toxic, deeply envious glance, a look that is capable of quite literally stealing a person's vital energy. And to explain this ancient horror, the old monk begins a terrifying tale set in the ancient valley of Akhara.
So, let's get right into part one. Whispers in the Dark, the tragedy of Akhara.
The monk paints a really vivid picture for his students here, setting up a profound contrast. Meet Shanti. She's a poor peasant mother. Now, she has absolutely no gold, but she possesses an absolute miracle, which is her toddler boy. His pure, bright laughter is so radiant it can actually heal broken spirits. He is her entire world. But standing in the pitch-black shadows of the bustling marketplace is a vastly powerful merchant. He's draped in these dark, expensive silk robes, possessing immense riches, but harboring a cold, bitter, and entirely empty heart. And this just brilliantly illustrates the core psychological clash of the story. You have humble, radiant joy standing completely vulnerable against intense, toxic wealth inequality and envy, just lurking in the dark.
So the merchant watches them from the edge of the square, and a deeply toxic envy ignites right behind his eyes. He actually asks himself, why should a miserable, poor peasant possess a joy so pure, while I have nothing but cold, lifeless metal? Stepping further into the shade, the bitter merchant fixes a sharp, intensely envious, and entirely unblinking gaze upon that laughing boy, and without touching him, he silently begins to drain the child's vibrant life force.
Which brings us to part two. Weaponizing the human gaze, the catastrophe.
What happens next is a really horrifying look at how a simple human gaze can act as a lethal weapon, how it can literally drain someone's physical life force just to feed its own malice.
And the devastation happens with horrifying speed. That very evening, the child's pure laughter simply vanishes. By midnight, a burning, unexplained fever strikes the boy out of absolutely nowhere. It's as if his vital energy was violently stolen in an instant.
And before the sun could even rise, the tragic conclusion. The child's spirit withers away completely under the lingering, heavy weight of that envious gaze. This catastrophe leaves Shanti entirely broken, weeping hysterically over an empty wooden cradle by a wildly flickering candle.
The tragedy is just overwhelming. And back at the mountain monastery, the campfire suddenly snaps, jolting the disciples, and us really, back to reality. One of the young disciples is visibly crying now, and he asks the exact desperate question we are all probably feeling right now. How can a simple look destroy a life? How can we ever protect ourselves from something we cannot even see?
Part 3. The unblinking shield, meeting the gaze. The old monk looks at his crying students with profound sorrow, but also with deep wisdom. He softly explains that the evil eye does not care about fairness.
It strikes when your joy is loud and the enemy's heart is completely empty.
So slowly, the monk reaches deep into his dark robes, and he pulls out a circular amulet made of deep blue glass, featuring a stark white and black eye painted directly right in its center. He holds it up, letting the flickering campfire light pass right through it, and as it catches the firelight, you realize this isn't just primitive jewelry, it's actually a calculated defense system.
The monk explains the mechanics of survival here. To fight an unblinking gaze of envy, the ancients learned you must meet it with a gaze that literally never shuts.
Right. This blue glass acts as a tireless, unblinking shield. It absorbs the poison itself. It catches the toxic hit of the Nazar's malice, so your physical life force, your soul, remains entirely untouched.
Part 4. The Power of Silence, the Ultimate Shield. As the monk gently places that cool blue glass into the trembling hand of the young disciple, the campfire slowly begins to turn to ash. The night deepens, and he delivers his final, most profound psychological lesson.
He tells them, the glass is only a tool. The ultimate shield in this life is absolute silence.
And that is the crucial point here. True protection isn't just relying on some mystical object you wear around your neck. It is a deeply intentional, calculated choice about exactly how you navigate the dark corners of the world.
He leaves them with this haunting philosophy. Do not display your greatest treasures to the marketplace of the world. Plant your beautiful seeds in secret, so the weeds of envy cannot choke them before they grow.
Wow! It's a devastatingly clear warning to keep our greatest joys, our most pure laughter, hidden away from the toxic, unblinking gaze of the envious masses.
The monk's final words just echo in the freezing dark. Protect your light and walk in the shadows.
Just imagine the camera of our minds panning up past that ancient temple roof and up into the endless, silent, starry, dark night sky.
The darkness is vast, and there are so many eyes watching. Will you choose to protect your light in silence? Or will you let your joy ring loud enough to awaken the shadows? As we end this explainer, we leave you to look up at those stars and ask yourself, who might be watching your light right now? And how will you shield it?